Herzlich willkommen zum Podcast Neues aus der tiergestützten Intervention. Dr. Sandra Foltin diskutiert aktuelle Themen mit verschiedenen Gesprächspartnern.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to this very exciting talk. I am very pleased to have Sara Karlberg with us today. And hi, Sara.
Hi.
We met actually through a number of seminars and webinars from IAHAIO. Because Sara is one of the members and she's part of the board of IAHAIO. And what I really liked about Sara, and that's really how we got to know each other, was one of her wonderful webinars regarding agency and consent of the dog. And so I'm very pleased to have Sara with me to discuss these absolutely important issues. Sara, can you tell a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got to be in the field of dog-assisted intervention and how you became a board member of IAHAIO?
Well, I live in Sweden, which is a pretty small country. I actually started out my working career as a TV photographer. So I actually have a bachelor's degree in media and communications. But working in television, I just realized that I wanted to be closer to people, closer to animals. So when I had my first child, I kind of rechanged my career and started educating myself as a dog trainer and started studying public health, ethology, everything that needs to be studied regarding animal assisted services.
Yes.
And finally, I actually have my master's degree in environmental psychology, which was the main theme was animal assisted services and human animal bond. And 17 years ago, I started the Swedish School for Therapy Dogs, and I worked as well as a handler. But back then we didn't have any aptitude tests. Everything was in obedience. Something was kind of itching. It was like, this is not really how I want to have my relations with my dogs, but I didn't know better. So about 7 years ago, I started experimenting about this because I wanted to understand how can we make the animals and the dogs' welfare better when we're working. So I talked to my friend Tess, who now actually runs the Norwegian School for Therapy Dogs. And she is a behaviorist in animals. She's trained everything you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And she's very, very active in being an ambassador for the animals' welfare. And she had an idea that we started to experiment about how to actually give the dog a voice when they're working. So we have at the moment started developing 5 questions to ask our dogs when they're working. And that's a little bit of what I want to share with you today and with Sandra.
Okay.
Should we look at the trailer?
Yes, please.
Yes. just to give everyone an idea, this was what you can do in your everyday life, like giving your dog choices of which bone to eat or which treat to choose, or
Was that in one hand you had little treats, and the other hand it was a bone?
yes,
I
exactly.
couldn't really see that. Okay, so your dog had a choice on which one to choose. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And this is how you train your dogs to say yes and no to things. And also, what we haven't done here is that we haven't shown that the dog actually can choose their own walk. That you actually show that wherever you go, I will follow. You can choose wherever you want to go. And this is how you actually teach your dog that I'm listening to you and I'm listening to what you prefer. And there's these small kind of exercises that gives your dog a way of saying, I would like this, and no, this is not my preference. So
So when you had that interaction with the lady, the first question, so to speak, what exactly did you do there in that situation? So you had a
the
person
question,
approaching you.
yes, the question was hello. So what happens is that you ask, would you like to greet this person?
Mhm,
And the dog goes there and likes the petting. But then when the dog looks at you, you ask the dog, are you done? Would you
mhm.
like to go away from the person? And the dog, if the dog follows, then the dog is done.
And
So
if the dog had not chosen to greet the person, then that would have been fine too, right?
sure,
Hmm.
no problem. Yeah. So this is how you also give your dog to say that it's okay to go up to say hello, but you don't have to stay. You can stay as long as you want, and I will ask you if you look at me, I will ask you if you want to leave the person as well. Sometimes some dogs go up to a person but doesn't have the courage to say I'm done, so that's why we continue asking the dog, and the dog can still choose, but it's nice to have the eye contact and see, okay, I see that you want to leave, so I'll help you.
And I think it's really important to teach the person of the team, right? Because you mentioned dogs. Well, we would call them the cooperative breeds, like for instance, the Labrador Retriever, that is generally or a lot of times very, very friendly and does often not choose to leave a person, even though we can see that it may be a stressful situation or the dog does not really know what is expected. But do you find that some dogs that have just learned to stay, even though they don't really feel that well?
It doesn't even have to be that they've learned it.
Hmm.
I have a golden retriever,
Hmm.
and my golden retriever, if I ask her to go up on a chair between two people, she likes the game of getting up and down from chairs. So she's like, "Yes, I will go up to the chair." And she likes to sit there and being petted, and she doesn't even show stress signs.
Hmm.
But if I ask her, "Would you like to jump down?" she does that. So what this means is that she doesn't have to be stressed, but it's like a station. She goes up and she's like the good girl. She's doing whatever I ask her to do. And she's staying there like, yes, I'm doing what you do. I'm the good girl here. And then when I ask her, would you like to jump down? And she's like, yes. So that's also why it's important. It doesn't even have to be that the dog is showing stress signs. The
Hmm.
dog still could be wanting to jump down, but doesn't have the motivation, or of course the dog will jump down if it's really stressed. On the other hand, my other dog, you will see him later, he is a poodle mix. He doesn't care if I ask him to jump up. If he wants to jump down, he will jump down. He
Exactly.
doesn't wait for my question.
But
But
it's much healthier for a dog in a way, to be that
sure,
way,
yeah.
even though we tend to say, well, he's more difficult or whatever, which is not really true. He's just different and really more self-protective in a way that this is much better for resilience, for instance, right?
Definitely. And he has his own way. And he's like, I don't care if you're going to ask me or not. I'll jump down anyway. And I'm like, good for you. That's really good. You're taking the work in your own hands. But the willing to please dogs, that's actually bred for collaboration with humans. They sometimes have difficulties finding out when they are when they have agency enough to actually just jump down.
Because we have, and I think it's from actually the American literature, this concept of the friendly dog,
Yeah.
which, has been discussed because a lot of times people expect within animal assisted or dog assisted services that dogs are, well, always friendly and welcoming to people, no matter who, they're facing, and that it's quite difficult and sometimes challenging for the dog, really, just like you were describing it, to actually say, well, no, I prefer not to go. Because a lot of times I think the person involved, the handler, feels a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Do you know, do you
Yeah.
see that a lot?
Yeah. And that's what we are trying to educate here in our schools, that you will always be your dog's ambassador, and it doesn't really matter if the clients need your dog. Your dog will always be in the first room, so to speak. So that's really important, definitely.
And in Sweden, how is the situation there? Is the animal assisted services, is that a field that is very popular? Um, well, in what kind of areas do you see animals? And is it, I presume, mostly dogs?
Yes, mostly dogs and horses, and then we have farm animals that they like visiting farms where they come out and work or meet animals in farms, but mostly dogs. I think I've only heard about maybe one or two cats. And the interesting though is that in Sweden we don't have volunteers. Everyone that's working in animal assisted services are paid. So this is a
Oh, very
profession. Even
different.
though you're a visiting dog team, you get salary from working with it.
But from whom?
The person, the organization that's buying the hours from you. So
Oh, very.
if I'm hired to go to an elderly home, the unit will pay me. Or if I work in a school setting, the principal will pay me.
So it's very normal to say you provide a valuable service and therefore, of course, you will get paid.
Sure,
Very
definitely.
different here. So in Germany, most people, of course, work on a voluntary basis, which I think sometimes kind of takes away a little bit of the value of the work involved, especially if you have really great teams that, have spent months and months training and offer a really high quality work. And it's still expected that a lot of these teams, well, just do it for the fun of it, really. So yeah, there's definitely way to go in Germany.
Yeah.
But how do you qualify people? Is there a certain standard? Do you have guidelines like Austria?
No, we don't. At the moment, we do have an ISO standard for dogs working with people with dementia and brain injury, but it's a very narrow standard, and it was written in 2013, so it's kind of outdated. But it's a good document, and we are following some of the points. But the document, excuse me, the document is based on not always positive reinforcement training.
Right.
And there's a lot of obedience, like asking your dog to put your head in the lap of someone. So even though we follow some points, we have actually taken a step away from some points as well, because I can't stand for that. We are following the guidelines that IAHAIO has. There's some points that says that this is how a training program should look like. And then we of course have the white paper, we have the new terminology. So I have kind of picked from different pieces.
Yes.
We also have some associations regarding animal assisted trainers that has their guidelines as well. So you have to qualify to be a member of their organization, and then that's why your curriculum should look like this, for instance.
Oh, I see.
But
Because
also
in Germany, of course, it's
we
still the situation that a lot of people are not qualified. We have, ISAD and ESAD and BTE, but otherwise, anyone can really offer animal assisted services. And what we see is that most of these people, and you can see it in the media, public media as well, they do not work the way that you have just described. So it's very difficult here in Germany as well, to tell people why they should really do a great long qualification and learn about these issues when they see that there are many people out there being paid as well for a way of interaction that is not really animal conform and for the welfare of animals.
Yeah, I understand. And well, still there's no law, and there's this is only guidelines, so there's some educators that doesn't follow this. But because we also, my organization or my company has also a higher vocational education, and that has to be qualified through an what do you call it, government, like a faculty. So
Right.
they have kind of vetted all my curriculums for that training or that education as well. So that's some kind of quality assurance, but still we need more. At the moment we have our assessment tests vetted and looked through with the Swedish University of Agriculture. So they have a research project that's analyzing different aptitude tests,
Oh,
which is
interesting.
interesting as well.
Yes,
So
yes, very interesting.
yeah.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that publication. Yes.
Yeah. So going forward, I would like to show you the next part of the
Yes,
trailer,
please.
where we show how to work when the dog is in a work environment.
Darling, I know it's you I'll follow across oceans and mountains unknown. I think back to when the night we first met. The cold air was pulling us close. Oh, 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 it's a light that draws me in. For you, darling, I'll do anything. Oh, 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 it's a light that draws me in. For you, darling, I'll do anything. A white crescent moon and a table for two on the shore of an endless sea view. These memories we've shared, I will not forget. They'll stay with me till we grow old. Oh, 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 it's a light that draws me in. For you, darling, I'll do anything. you I'll follow across oceans and mountains unknown. I think back to when the night we first met. The cold air was pulling us close. Oh, 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 it's your light that draws me in. For you, darling, I'll do anything. Oh, oh, oh.
Yeah, so this is how we can ask our dogs questions when we're also working. So what you saw there is that I'm asking him if he wants to play a treat game or do bean bags or throw the dice, for instance.
And how do you train that? What's his name?
His name is Buddy,
Buddy.
kompis, in Swedish, and the thing is that it's all based on reward history, right? Everything is based on reward history. Even though if you're in a car crash, if you are released in some way, or if you're treated with a person that comes to the car crash and helps you out, you will feel a positive reinforcement when the person comes to you. So what this means is that I have trained him to pick up bean bags and rewarded him for that. And I've trained him to throw the dice and rewarded him for that. And some days he chooses the dice, and some days he chooses the bean bags.
But you do, how did you, or did you train him to make a choice? You know what I mean?
Well,
But
if you
because he
offer
makes a
both,
sign, right?
yeah, if you offer both, he will, the dog will point with the nose, or like he does, he actually throws his paw to that.
So did he just do it, offer this kind of gesture by himself?
Yes.
Ah, okay, so that's
So
not trained at all. You
yeah.
held the different options and he just went and showed what he preferred.
Yeah. And one way of looking at that is actually to do this exercise. So what I did is that I put all the some of the things that I usually work with. I usually have all these things with me when I'm going to a school or an elderly home. And what I'm doing here is that I'm saying, which one would you like to work with? And this is what happened. Kompis, vad vill du göra? Varsågod. Varsågod. I'm saying, go ahead, do what you want to do. And he picks up the bean bags. So, and this is interesting because he doesn't get any treats here. I'm just asking him, what's the next thing? And he keeps picking the bean bags. So talking about this is that he actually really, really likes the bean bags. Like 7 times out of 10, he chooses the bean bags.
So he really has a preference,
yes,
with respect to the things he wants to interact with. And the other thing I wanted to ask, why do you establish these areas? In the last film you showed, there was the activity area.
Zone. Yeah. This is like safety, like, let's see.
Yes, that.
I think
so. In the middle, you have activity zone.
Yeah. So here, can you see my?
Yes, exactly.
Pointer?
Perfect.
Yeah. This is the activity zone. I usually have a mat, but you don't have to have that if you don't.
Well, I always have a mat too. It's easier to use as a ritual.
Yeah. And this is where you also can ask your dog to wait. And this is on a safety level from your participants as well. So he can't be petted, he can't be kicked, he can't be doing anything. This is active rest. So he's
But
waiting.
you differentiate between a resting place and an activity zone, right?
Yes. And usually sometimes I also have another mat, which is like what we call a pause mat, where you ask your dog to wait for instructions. But at this time, I use the activity mat and the pause mat as the same thing. I ask him to wait for me to prepare things. And then you have this one, the blue. This is where he can go and say, I'm done for the day. There could be a bone there. There's always fresh water as well.
Yes.
And if the dog goes to this the bed, you don't ask the dog unless the dog shows that I'm interested in participating again.
Otherwise, it's kind of like an exit target, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And then the activity zone is really some kind of consent. Yes, I want to participate. And within that activity zone, you also ask him now, which toy do you prefer?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And you, I mean, of course, the dog will have a positive feeling for this activity zone as well, because there's a lot of fun things happening there as well. So
Okay.
that's but it could I mean, it depends on how you want or how your setting is done as well.
Because if you have, for instance, there's no like guided activity, for instance, let's just say you're in a setting with that one person in the back, and you are having, like, you are a psychiatrist, psychologist, and you're talking with this person, and you really, body can basically choose what he wants to do. How would you then create this setting? You would still have,
This
I'm
is how
jumping
you
ahead, huh?
No, this is
Oh.
how you can do. Then here I'm using the old activity mat as a pause mat. So this is where the dog can go and rest or whatever, really. And then I have the 2 yoga mats for activities. But let's see this video. So what we do here is we ask the dog to say hello. So I'm asking the dog to, if the dog wants to jump up and lie down between the 2 people. And here's another dog, and they do different. This one wants to greet on the floor, for instance. And she's saying, would you like to greet the girl as well? Hoppa upp och hälsa lite mer nu då. Här. Kom. Så. And I'm always beside or in front just to say, but it's very important here to have an exit area for him so he can jump down if he wants to. It looks like the same dog, but this is another dog.
Okay.
And here you can see she actually moved away and she was done. So this is 4 different dogs greeting both elderly and younger people.
Interesting, and they show preferences too.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's so many different ways, but talking about consent test, I was thinking that maybe we should show this video,
Yes,
because
please.
this is a really interesting video of asking your dog if your dog wants to be petted. So
who is this in the video? The person? The person is known to your dog?
The person is known to our dog, but to my dog, but at the moment when we videoed this, they were kind of new to each other, but
Okay.
she's working with me now, but this is filmed like 5 or 4 years ago.
Wow.
So what I'm doing is that I'm asking her to pet him and then to stop and see if he asks for more. And this is actually a dog that wasn't really keen on being petted up until he was 3 years old.
Okay.
So what I did, he's 11 years old now, but what I did is that I always did it on his terms. So whenever he wanted to be petted, I petted him, but whenever he wanted to leave, I just kind of stopped petting and let him walk away. And that what happened was that he started asking for more. And I reinforced that. So what he now feels like, he can come and ask me for being petted, and the more he can choose, the more he wants to be petted as well.
Isn't that interesting? Because a lot of people, I think, well, they do not ask. And I think in the beginning, especially when the dogs are young, of course, and cuddly and cute, people tend to touch them all the time. And I think quite the opposite of what you described happens then, that the dog really, well, attempts to get more distance, to create more distance. And I think it's a wonderful idea to do it the other way around and just let the dog choose whether he or she wants to come. And so interesting to hear that you say, well, and thereby he really increased the
Yeah.
time he wants to spend being petted.
And we have seen this also in the jobs that we do, that the more the dog has agency to actually choose what to do, they want to work more as well.
Because most people still think, it's kind of like you either have um, the clients with treats, kind of, calling the dog, or a lot of people still work with a leash with the dog. So really there's no agency, because I think people, maybe they don't trust their dog, or uncertain that the dog will actually go into an interaction. But
But actually, if you
it's
think
much
about
more,
it,
it's the opposite, isn't it?
yeah, and if you think about it, if you think about yourself, if I was to touch your body whenever I wanted without asking you, what would you feel about me? I
I
mean,
think, yeah.
it's if you think about it, it's actually very logical, reasonable thinking, and the same with will go to if I can choose what games I want to play. I would like to play it more because I can actually choose whatever I prefer, instead of someone giving you, this is how to do it. So this comes back to all the things that you do in relations with your dog, how you want to build your relationship. Do it, go back to yourself and think about, I mean, because actually it's abusive to pet your dog without even asking your dog. I don't believe in that way of living with your dog and talking with your dog either. And if you ask your dog questions, of course the dog won't understand if I say, "Would you like to?" But if I have clients with me and I ask my dog, "Would you like to be petted?" It's so much more soft and respectful thinking and talking to your dog when you ask your dog if you wanted to be petted, instead of saying, "Move forward and be petted. Go and greet this person." I don't like the attitude of that.
Because if it reflects about you as a person as well, and about your interaction with your dog and your
Yeah.
relationship,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because that's what I always try to teach my students too. Because people look at us and the way we treat our dogs, but the way we talk with our dogs, the way we interact with our dogs. And I think thereby we really create one of the main blocks about whether it's a good and high quality interaction or not.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only way to really show people how to treat any kind of animal, because if I don't do it right, then how can I expect my clients to do it right or to do it better?
Yeah. And that comes back to this one. We have a
Hmm.
cuddle chart where when we meet people, I show that this is Stella's, my golden retriever's cuddle chart. And we talked about this earlier as well. The blue one maybe shouldn't even be there, but the red, yellow, and green one is a very pedagogical way of showing people this is where she likes to be petted and this is where you shouldn't pet her, with respect. And it makes it very easy for people to understand, okay, this is how I should do it. So this is a really good way of communicating to the people that you meet as well. This is what she likes.
Well, one question there, because that's something we encounter quite often now. What do you do if you have, for instance, people that do not understand for health reasons, or because perhaps they have dementia, and they are just not able, to remember. Do you have any other ways you approach these people, and to have an interaction that's safe for everybody?
Well, if it's people that has dementia, which is very far in the dementia, I usually show them myself, and I'm also there helping out with the hands, for instance.
Yes.
But of course, we have always done a risk assessment before this, so I also know which people who could be quite violent or not doing normal body language or behavior. So I'm also very close to the dog, and I'm also very communicative to the person that wants to pet the dog as well.
Thank you so much. That's a great advice. Yes.
And also, of course, the same thing there. Always have a way for the dog to retreat from the situation. Not just having a bed in the far away of the room, but if you have your dog on a chair or in in a sofa, you always have an open space for the dog to jump down or leave the person that we're interacting with.
So if you have, would you recommend, if you have a small dog like you do with Buddy, that it's just, or it makes a big difference to have this dog, for instance, on a chair, so you have a different level of
Yes.
like eye contact?
And first of all, you actually can ask the dog in that case to jump up to the chair. Would you like to be on the chair? And I usually don't have my dog in the lap of someone, but they can greet
Exactly.
my dog on the chair, or maybe in my lap. So the dog can also be very safe with me, and I'm there all the time. So and that's also like in a bed. I prefer to have the dog on a chair beside the bed
Yes.
and not in the bed. But sometimes being in the bed makes really good therapy or treatment. So it depends on the situation, of course.
But the chair is also a consent, right?
Yeah.
So you really have it, it really has a lot of meaning, so to
Yeah.
speak. Yeah.
But if I have my dog in the bed, my dog always get the question, would you like to jump up on the chair? And then would you like to jump up on the bed? So I don't lift my dog.
Exactly. Very, very important point with small dogs.
Yes.
Yes, no lifting.
No
And
lifting.
if you lift, do you have a signal?
Well,
Like if you
usually,
yourself have
yeah.
to lift up your small dog.
Yeah, the interesting is that when I ask my dog doesn't really likes to be lifted, but
Exactly.
sometimes he has, when it's very slippery floor, for instance, and he wants to go up. I can see that he's kind of trying, but he can't dare to jump up because it's slippery. Then I come and I show my hands, and the dog can walk into my hands. And funnily enough, he actually jumps up, so I have to catch him in the in the air. But but he we have this kind of procedure. And what I really dislike is people using the harness as a
Oh,
lift, and especially just not saying or preparing a dog that you're actually going to lift it.
absolutely.
That
Because I'm
can.
just with you. I have three small dogs. I only have like adopted dogs. And all of them, all the small dogs I ever had, they do not like to be picked up. Certainly because they also have a history of being picked up, including this terrible pulling up on a leash. And I think it's even more important then to always realize if it is a small dog, ask first if he or she wants to come on the same eye level, and then really if he wants to be touched. Because I
Yeah,
think a lot of the small dogs have a history or biography of being overwhelmed, you know?
definitely. Yeah, definitely. So that's pretty much how it's quite simple actually. Just treat your dog as you would like to be treated yourself, and ask the dog for consent. Ask for yes and no. That's pretty simple. And then if someone wants to learn more about the questions and everything, we have an online course for this, but I think it's pretty easy just to kind of start thinking in those ways, and then you will see that your dog will get a totally new way of moving, asking you questions. Sometimes your dog, especially the small one that I have, he asks me for bones multiple times during the day, and I'm like, no, you've already had one. So it's also teaching your dog that yes and no can come from me as well.
Absolutely, because my dogs, they even when they don't get one from me, they will use like guests, and they will show you where I keep the treats, you know, on the refrigerator,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
will
yeah.
just lead you there and say, "Look, look, look, we really have to have one." So
Yeah,
I love that they are so innovative and smart, and manipulative too, but in the best of all ways.
yeah,
And yes, I'm so with you. We really should think about the voluntary participation of our dogs and how we can ask them, even like you said in the beginning, you know, which way do you want to walk
mm,
today?
yeah, yeah,
And of course, sometimes there's a no, of course. But I believe too, anytime we can do it, you know, our dog should also have a voice and a choice. And in particular, when we talk about the animal assisted services.
yeah,
So thank you so, so much for these wonderful videos, for the way you explain things. And of course, we will link the course because I think it's always really excellent to have people continue their education. So,
yeah.
Sarah, thank you very, very much. And
Thank you.
I'm sure there will be more questions to come. Great starter. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.